this lane, this lane, this lane, this lane. I think.
I would like to challenge Matt Bozak.
Scotty Bull.
Jason Belmasi.
Well, good Sunday evening, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Bowling with the Fef, a platform for you to share your unique bowling story live on our YouTube channel. It is a Sunday with a lot of bowling content going on, so let's get right into it. This weekend, a big weekend in central Wisconsin at Dale's Weston Lanes in Weston near Wausau, where they had the Midwest Bowl Fest, the inaugural event. And we've got champions. Trey Henriksmeyer from Eau Claire, Wisconsin, coming off a second place finish at the Midwest main event, a junior tournament, qualified for the Badger Elite Open Division Finals and took the whole thing, beating out 3 adult players for that championship. You've got Brooke Salzman, a freshman on the Mount Mercy women's team from Minnesota originally, taking top honors for the Badger Elite women in the U15 youth finals. It was Rush Steen on the boys' side and Holly Orgeman for the girls, taking home hardware, and U18 still going on over there in Weston. And we hope to hear more about who's taken the other junior top honors at Badger Elite and Midwest Bowl Fest. Well, big shouts to Team Storm, who traveled to La Raza in Costa Rica and absolutely cleaned up. That team consisting of episode 73 guest Matt McNeil, Ed Smaglick, Chris Clerk, and Marvin Hale brought home championships in team, doubles, team all events, individual all events, and the special event. The only event they didn't win was singles. Smaglick, who had a 299 earlier in the tournament, went 300, 837 in singles, but lost to an 846 by Alec Keplinger. Wow, high scores in that event, but congrats to Team Storm on a magnificent performance over the past few days down there in Costa Rica. Hey, check out the star shields and beautiful wooden lane surfaces in these pictures of some vintage era centers in Wisconsin. They were part of the Bowling Centers Association of Wisconsin's Vintage Alleys tour today near Madison, Wisconsin. A group of 15 paid guests went to Midway Lanes in Mineral Point, Wisconsin, Black Earth Lanes in Black Earth, and Stubby's Bowl in Waterloo. It's an effort to bring awareness to all of Wisconsin's vintage era alleys, most of which opened in the 1930s through 1950s, although some are now 100 plus years old. The group traveled by motor coach. They bowled in all 3 centers, had lunch along the way. The little guy on the right is John from Wapaka, a first grader. He went on the tour with his mom, or with his Nana, I should say, Barb, also from Wapaka. And there was also a little history along the way. Check this out. That's Lisa from Highland Lanes in Milwaukee, shooting a record 235, the all-time high game by a lady on the Vintage Alleys tour. You can see her off third to right there in that group picture, and I'm sure everybody had a fantastic time on that tour. I know I'd love to give it a shot one of these years when I don't have anything going on, but yeah, looks like a lot of fun had by all, taking in some vintage alleys, of which there are plenty in the great state of Wisconsin. Well, another thing you can find in Wisconsin is Chip Magnet Salsa. Chip Magnet is born and raised in Eau Claire, Wisconsin. They distribute salsa and a whole lot of other food products to stores in more than 38 states and Canada. In Minnesota's Twin Cities, you can find it at Whole Foods, Nolan's Festivals, Kowalski's, Lund's and Byerly's, and most all small co-op stores. Or you can stay online and get a great deal just for Bowling with the Fef viewers. At checkout, enter promo code BWTF2023. You get $30 or I'm sorry, let me try again. 20% off your purchase of $30 or more on the website. Limit 1 order per email address. Chip Magnet, raise your snack standards. And thank you so much to all the folks at Chip Magnet for supporting bowling and for supporting Bowling with the Fef. Well, our guest tonight is, as the title of this show might indicate, a big fan of hard rock. Bands like Van Halen, Metallica, Iron Maiden, that stuff that's totally in my wheelhouse. So I'm always glad to hear that. Tom Roberts from Andover, Minnesota is joining us tonight. And if that last name sounds familiar, it might be because you heard from his wife, Sarah Kushino-Roberts, in episode 121. So let's bring Tom out so we can complete the husband-wife duo here, taking an off-the-sheet challenge and punching it right in the face. Tom, how you doing tonight?
Good. How are you doing?
Really good. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Let's talk about the namesake for this show. It's called Bending Strings, which is something that Eddie Van Halen made famous. You're a huge fan of those bands, and I kind of wore my little Van Halen-esque jersey, for the occasion. But tell me about that stuff. How'd you get into hard rock, and why do you like it so much?
I don't know. I got into it early on. Van Halen was probably the first one, AC/DC, and it just grew from there. And I also have my little Van Halen thing on tonight too.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm assuming you've seen plenty of shows. Is there one that stands out as your favorite?
Oh wow, that's a tough one. Well, last year Sarah and I spent our third wedding anniversary in Chicago and at an Iron Maiden concert. That was kind of fun.
Okay.
So yeah, we had a good time with that one.
Yeah. Cool. I never got to see Iron Maiden or Van Halen live. I've seen Metallica a few times, though, and they put on a fantastic show.
Yeah, they're up next. We got them next summer.
There you go. Okay. At the 2-concert series?
Yep, we got them both.
All right, cool. I'll be there in the crowd with you, so that's awesome to hear. How about Halloween costumes? I reached out to Amber Duty, who told me that you had always had good Halloween costumes for another Elsie's League that you would show off too. Tell me about Halloween, why you like it, and where your ideas for costumes come from.
It just my teams always did a theme for Halloween night, and they'd always have prizes for the best costumes and for Halloween, for ugly Christmas sweaters, all that stuff. So we just went with it. We'd pick a theme and we'd all dress up for it. I think most recently we did the Wizard of Oz.
Okay.
And I was one of the Munchkin mayor, so I had to stand on my knees for the team picture.
Yeah, you're pretty tall, so that would take some doing to pull that off.
Yeah, it was fun. I don't know. I wasn't actually even bowling that night. I had some tendonitis in my arm, so I was just watching. But yeah, I just dressed up anyway because I was ready for it.
Okay.
So we went with it. Good
stuff. Derek from Flush in the Pocket podcast saying hello. Hello, Derek. Glad to see that you're tuned in here. So let's kind of get into your backstory, your history in the sport of bowling. How did it all start for you?
When I started for me, it was a kid. I'd just go and watch my dad. He bowled in leagues out at St. Anthony Lanes, and I'd go watch him. And I always wanted to, but I just never did as a kid. And then as time got older, I went and in high school we went bowling for gym at Diamond Lake Lanes.
Okay.
So everywhere I started bowling is no longer existing.
Yeah.
But yeah, we went to Diamond Lake Lanes from Richfield High School. It was just a few blocks away. So we went over there, bowled a couple games, and then it was on then. And then me and a couple friends, we'd go over to Airport Bowl all the time. Also not there, and that's where my league started, was at Airport.
Okay.
And we just enjoyed it and kept going and got where we're at now.
Yeah. Were you in kind of a structured junior program, or was it something where you just kind of went your own way with it?
No, that in high school was the first time I ever picked up a bowling ball.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So I was a senior in high school, so I was already basically an adult, actually.
Okay.
And we'd started bowling there and then went from there, and then eventually as time went by, we started buying our own equipment, and then it got a little more fun. And then as time went by, then we started getting a little more serious and learning how to actually do it.
Sure. What was that point where you decided, okay, I'm not just going to bowl with a house ball and house shoes. I got to invest in this. I got to invest in myself. Was there a certain point? Was that in high school? Was that after?
Well, it was when I realized that I couldn't make the ball turn the way the other bowlers in the leagues did.
Yeah.
When they could hook the ball, and I'm doing everything I can with those house balls, and it's just not doing anything. It's like, it's time. It was time to get one and get some drive on it and actually be able to carry some strikes.
Yeah.
And then it got fun.
Yeah, I mean, everybody catches the bug, that's for sure. Did you end up, I guess, taking any lessons from anybody, or are you self-taught?
I have pretty much self-taught. I've pretty much surrounded myself with pretty good bowlers for the most part. So I've picked up from them, and then I took one lesson a couple of years ago, or year and a half ago or so, with Scott Pohl.
Okay.
And they're just a half-hour thing, and he just gave me a couple of simple little things, pulled your hands a little higher, and things started getting a little better from there.
Yeah. When you started getting into leagues and things like that, who did you bowl with? Who were, what circles were you running in the bowling community on that south side of Minneapolis?
Well, a good friend of mine I've bowled with pretty much my whole life is Eric Haugen. He bowls a lot of tournaments around the cities now. Him, and then his dad was a phenomenal bowler back in the day. He was he had an 800 series before there was even an award for it. And they came to his work and did an interview with him back in the 60s. He had an 800 series, and they didn't even know what it was. So, and then, we learned a lot from him. I mean, Dave Haugen, he was a good role model for us in the bowling world.
Yeah, for sure. Tell me about, kind of what you saw around you besides, your immediate circle. You talked about, kind of the league bowlers turning it up a little more because they had their own equipment. But, that community is so rich with bowling history and bowling talent. I mean, tell me about those surroundings as you're kind of finding your way.
At first I didn't really even see it like that. I was just bowling, and I could just tell that some of these guys were a lot better than others. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I want to get to where they're at. And then, several years later, I started to realize that this is a huge community, and everybody is just so good. And it's easy to find somebody to watch and learn something from.
Yeah, for sure. Another thing that I wanted to talk to you about is that you seem to have a lot of history at Elsie's. When did you start going into Elsie's, and what kept you coming back there?
I was probably, honestly, I don't bowl there anymore, but I did for probably about 20 years.
Wow.
That's where my one team was, and they invited me to come for a sub once in a while. And then eventually it just turned into a permanent spot. And then I realized I really liked this place, and it was fun, and the league was great. And, time went by, and then I got on another team there. And then, so I've had my fair share of games in that building.
Yeah.
But yeah, now we've kind of moved on because it's kind of far away from a lot of the teams. So we've kind of more centrally located over to, the one team we located over to Andover here, because we got everybody from Blaine and Ham Lake and us in Andover. So it's like, this is where we need to be.
Sure.
And then my other team, we moved over to Talkin now on Thursday nights. So that's where I'm at now. But yeah, I when I left the Wednesday night league at Elsie's, I'm pretty sure I was the longest running member in that league. It was about 20 years. Wow.
Yeah, that place holds a special place in my heart too, because that's the place where I shot my first 700 as a teenager. So Elsie's is a great place for sure.
Yeah.
So what would you say? What would you say is kind of the common thread between you and your teammates? What's it like to be on a team with these other bowlers, and what do you like as a teammate?
Mostly we just have a good time and we insult each other. we tell them, your ball will be right back. You throw it better. If you stone an 8-pin, just throw it better.
Right.
We're just out there to have a great time, and that's all we do. And then the rest just comes naturally.
Sure.
You just kind of feed off each other and just start bringing the bigger numbers.
Yeah. Tell me about your style. I reached out to Jeff Miller, and he told me that you're pretty competitive at bowling, but he called your style unique. He said he means it works for you, but it's like a style he's never seen before. He said it's kind of a jerky thing, but that you really crank the ball out there. Um, you know, if you were to describe how you throw the ball, how you go through your approach, how would you do it?
Honestly, I just usually start out as far left as I can and just let her buck. Just fire it out to the break point and hope I hit the right spot. Then
Yeah.
it's a little more than that, but that's how it pretty much started.
Yeah.
And
And
now I kind of look for a spot and I try to hit the spot now.
sure. And you use a thumb, right?
I do use a thumb,
Okay.
and yeah, it's a little bit of hand in there.
Yeah.
It
Okay.
does go.
Is it easy for you to put that turn on it, or does it take
I,
some doing?
Honestly, I don't even know how it happened. I started without a thumb. That's how I started learning how to do it, and then I just put my thumb in because I found it way easier to control where it was going.
Okay.
And then yeah, but it's nothing to me to turn the ball like that. It doesn't. I don't have to work at it at all.
Yeah.
It's in fact sometimes I try to kill it, and that's the harder thing to do.
Yeah. Yeah. Plastic at spares?
I did for a while, but they kept crumbling around the thumb hole, so now I'm just back to just killing my regular ball.
Okay. All right. Cool. Going back to the Elsie's thing, Amber said that you two have the same type of dark yet dry humor. She said you bowled on the same team at Elsie's on Tuesdays for a few years.
We did.
She said a lot of fun memories from not being able to shoot 300 at Elsie's. She said your team name was Dilligaffs. She said she couldn't remember if it was you or Jerry who came up with that one. Do you remember who came up
Honestly, I don't even remember who came up with it.
Yeah.
But it was it was a name. It had a meaning.
Yeah.
I don't know if I really want to say what it means, but I'll just say, do I look like I give a?
Okay.
And then we'll stop there.
To look like I give a. Okay. So I mispronounced it, but yeah.
No, you said it right.
I said it right?
Well, because there is sir at the end.
There's what, sir?
Sir at the end. That's the S.
Oh, okay.
So it is Dilligaffs.
Gotcha. Okay. She said that you would always joke about the mismatched team and that you tossed a few great sets. What does that mean, the mismatched team?
Oh, well, I'm not going to name the names of some of these people, but we several times we shot 12 big 1200 games, nearly 1300 one night, and there was one member of the team that had about $160 in there. Okay. So it was just a little mismatched sometimes, but it was still fun. I mean, we all had a great time with that team.
Yeah, for sure. So I got to get into the part where you meet Sarah, because you guys end up becoming this couple that is a mainstay at bowling league, bowling tournaments, all that kind of stuff. So tell the story of how you two met while I put up a picture that you sent over.
All right. Well, basically that all started with that Tuesday night team.
Okay.
She was actually dating one of the other members of that team. Okay. And hey, that's where we met. That obviously that didn't work out for her, but several years later, we were out in me and my team. We were out in Reno for nationals, and I got a friend request from her because I got tagged in somebody else's Facebook post, and so she sent me a friend request, and I responded, and then I said, "This is funny because I'm actually sitting at the same bar right now that you and I were sitting in a few years back."
Oh, wow.
And then a couple weeks later, we went on our first date, which also started at Elsie's.
Okay.
So we met at Elsie's. We started our first date at Elsie's. when we got married, our groom's dinner was at Elsie's, and we took some of our engagement pictures there. We went there after our wedding and had a drink, and I mean, I did. She didn't. So we had a few of the wedding party were there. We went and had a drink and got ready to go to the reception. But yeah, we went over there all dressed up in our wedding gear.
Wow.
So that place has always been pretty special for us.
Yeah. Tell me about the dynamic between you two when it comes to bowling. I mean, you're at the same events. Do you bowl league together? Are you doubles teammates in tournaments, things like that?
We are all of the above. Yeah, we are teammates on both the leagues I bowl on. She bowls one other night that I'm at work, so I can't do that one. But yeah, we the two teams I bowl, she's my teammate. All tournaments that we do, we're doubles partners.
Okay.
Yeah.
See, there's Derek trying to push the envelope. Give us names. Pfeff loves it when you give us names. Well, maybe he doesn't want to give the names.
No, that's that's not going to be happening.
Yeah, there's we'll just leave it at that.
Yeah.
All right. So Jeff mentioned that he was the DJ at your wedding. He said that that was a party like there was no tomorrow. He recalled playing Metallica for your first dance as husband and wife. I gotta ask, he didn't mention which song. Was it like Fight Fire with Fire or something like that?
Yeah. No, we went with oh god, why can't I even think of the name of it? Nothing Else Matters.
There you go.
It was I got a picture of it framed with the lyrics framed in our house, but yeah, I just said it was blank for a minute. But yeah, it was Nothing Else Matters.
That's cool.
That was Sarah's pick.
Okay. All right. That's great. As the time goes on, you say, that you guys bowl together, you're in leagues, you're in doubles meets. When times on the lanes aren't so good, when one of you doesn't have the greatest outing, does the other then, try to help figure out what's wrong, debrief afterwards, or is that kind of off limits?
I think we would like to more than I when Sarah's not having the best of night, I try to stay out of her way a little bit, and I think she does the same with me.
Yeah.
Because we both know what we got going on, which is wrong, but we don't want to hear it said from somebody else, even though it would help. But yeah, it's like I one night I went up to another friend and said, "You want to tell her to change balls?" Because I don't think she wants to hear it from me.
Yeah.
So he did, and she changed balls, and everything went crazy for her. She lit it up that night.
Okay. And then afterwards, did you kind of nudge her on the shoulder and say, "Hey, that was me who said
Nope.
Nope.
Oh. Nope. He's gonna know now.
But not
know now, but
I mean,
not then.
Yeah, you guys have bowled enough that yeah. She won't know for sure unless you tell her which.
We're both pretty competitive and really. I mean, she told you in her show here that I want to beat everyone in the building, including her.
Mm-hmm.
I want to win.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm not that great, so I don't really beat the house that often. Once in a great while, I'll have a real nice night, and that'll happen, but pretty rare.
Okay.
But it does happen.
All right.
And it happens for her as well. More often than me.
But that's what being a competitor is all about, right? It's wanting to win and just being so sick over not winning that it drives you.
Yeah, we just, like I said, we just try to stay out of each other's way a little bit. When we're having a rougher night, we just kind of give them some space to figure it out themselves.
Yeah,
for the most part.
For sure. Danny Hatton was somebody that I reached out to. She helps run That's What I Do in the Grimalkin. And I had asked her, I remember you won one of their events. I wasn't sure which one it was. She thought it was a Grimalkin event.
I've actually won two. I won a Grimalkin. I won that obviously they were all at Southtown, but yeah, I won one of those a couple of years, probably 4 years ago. And then the second time I ever did any of their events was That's What I Do doubles event at Memory lanes.
Okay.
And me and my partner Eric Haugen, we won that one. We put together about a 1,400 that day, and we walked away with a bunch of money. That was kind of fun.
I bet.
And that kind of hooked me with them, and I did a lot of them, and then now I can't do them. I work every weekend, so I can't do any of their events. And we live in Andover, so it's kind of a haul out to Southtown for the Grimalkins. But I mean, maybe someday I'll get back out there and do a couple.
Yeah, that doubles event must have been really special because it's one thing to win individually, but it's another to have somebody with you, especially somebody you're as close with as Eric is.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. I mean, I didn't expect to win. We just went out there and just threw our best shots we had. And she asked us at the beginning, "Do you want to get in the bet you win pot?" And I said, "Well, of course I'm going to win. That's why I'm here."
Yep.
And then we got more. Then there's like, "Hey, you got more money coming for this." And then it's like, this is the best thing I've ever done. I need to do more of these.
Yeah, for sure. And they don't put out house shots. I mean, they put out challenging patterns.
Yeah, they do. Some of them really hurt. I'd leave and I'd be like, "What did I even do that for?" And other ones, that was a good time right there.
Yeah.
So yeah, I got my name on one of those Grimalkin trophies somewhere.
There you go. Yeah, always a great learning experience too.
Yeah.
When I reached out to Jessica Boyer, she told me she'll say that you like to cheat at cards when she subs on your team.
Okay, here we go. No, we play. See, I don't even know how to word this. I get a lot of cards.
Okay.
And with a lot of cards, you have a better chance of getting the jokers. And we play with a deck with 4 jokers.
This is just standard like poker hand.
Yeah, just standard poker hand. But we have 4 jokers in the deck.
Okay.
And now when you get a lot of cards, sometimes you're going to get a bunch of those jokers. And then when somebody comes to you with a 7s over full house, that's kind of bringing a knife to a gunfight. Because I'm sitting there with two royal flushes in my hand because I got 3 jokers and a couple of face cards.
Yeah. So this is kind of sour grapes then.
It could be a little bit.
I don't want to put words in her mouth, but
yeah. I don't want to stir it too hard because I think she's going to be taking over for me for a while in bowling this year.
Yeah.
I am going to be missed. This is going to be a pretty short season for me.
Yeah.
I'm going to be having hip surgery here in December 1st.
Oh wow!
So my season's going to come to a quick end, but it is what it is. I got to do it.
Sure.
So, but yeah, so I don't want to anger her too much.
Yeah.
We'll let her be happy and then come and win some card hands because I won't be playing. Even though we haven't been playing cards at all, but maybe they'll start.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah. So nowadays, I mean, you said this season's going to be short, but you are still bowling for the moment.
Currently, yes. It can be painful. Some days it feels great, other days it doesn't. But it will be a short season. December 1st. I am scheduled for the surgery.
And do they say when you might be able to get back into it?
They're hoping. The doctor, when I talked to him, he said it's a potential. I could be bowling by March.
Okay.
So there is still a glimmer of hope I can make it to Vegas. For our team, we have a slot in late March. Okay. So and hopefully I can still make that one.
Do you go to the OCs just about every year?
I've been to. This will be my 19th one.
Wow.
If I make it, so.
Okay.
So yeah, I've only missed one since I started, other than the COVID one that didn't happen, so I didn't really miss anything there.
Sure.
But yeah, I missed. I believe it was 2007.
Okay.
So I started in 04. I went to 3 of them, and then I missed one, and then ever since I've been there every year.
Yeah. Any favorite memories from any of those past OCs?
Last year, this last one, worst road trip of my life. I mean, we ran into a lot of weather. It was just everything about it was terrible. But when we got there, I actually put together a pretty nice set in singles or team rather, and all of us on our team did. Okay. And we got a little medallion saying outstanding performance, and then we got a little nice taste here about a month ago of a nice little check we got in the mail.
Cool.
So yeah, when we walked out of the building, I believe we were sitting in 25th place in standard.
Wow. All right.
And by the time it all came to an end, it was probably more like closer to 200th place, but that's still not bad.
Yeah,
with the number of teams that they have run through there.
So you got to satisfy my curiosity on this one because I've never bowled the OC, although this year I'm thinking about it. Do you think that you did well because you had all that experience and you knew what to expect and all that stuff, or was it just kind of a random thing?
I think it was just a random thing. I put the guy. Well, I shouldn't say, it wasn't really great games, but I mean, I'm not talking a huge set by any means. I had a 610.
Okay.
So nothing huge, but
still challenging oil pattern.
I like I said, I've been there 18 years now, and I've got 2 600 series in that tournament.
Okay.
Ever. So that was the bigger of the two.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I was pretty happy with that.
Yeah.
And then we got back on the road, and it got less exciting again because we ran into more weather.
Oh no.
Coming home. And then we couldn't even get into home because we had a blizzard that night.
Oh man. And how long a drive is that from where you're at? I mean, just on an ideal stretch of days.
If everything would have went perfect, it was about 27 hours, I believe, of drive time.
Wow.
So it's a fair drive. Yeah. But we ended up with about 1,000-mile detour in there with ours because we couldn't even get through Wyoming because the road was basically shut down.
Jeez.
So we ended up going down through Albuquerque and came up through Vegas that way. So it was we added about 1,000 miles to the drive.
Wow.
And it was like, we got to go now if we're going to make it, because there was a chance we weren't even going to make it there in time.
Jeez.
And people that flew weren't doing any better. I mean, one guy got there and he ran in the door and they were already doing the announcements before we took the lanes.
Wow.
And he flew in and he got there 12 hours late.
Yeah. So
it was just a bad year for everybody's travel last year, I think.
Sure. Okay. Well, hopefully it's better this year, especially if I end up doing it.
Yeah. Well, there'll be an airplane involved this year.
Yep, I bet.
Yeah.
For sure. Connor Brown says, hello, Pfeff and Tom. Connor's going to be coming on our show in the weeks ahead, so watch for that. Where do you go from here? I know you've got the surgery coming up in your immediate future, and there's that. But, what are the things you want to accomplish in this sport?
I want a ring. I don't have any honor scores.
Okay.
I have 0. Never had a 300, never had an 800. I've been awful close to the 300. I've been fairly close to the 8, but that's it.
Okay.
That's to start. I want that. And then from there we'll pick a new goal.
Okay. Build on those successes, and hopefully that ring comes your way sooner rather than later.
I think it will.
Yeah, and that's great. That's the best way to think about it, because you dream it and it happens.
Yeah.
As you know, because you're here from a challenge from Sarah. On our show, we go off the sheet by asking you to challenge somebody else. Doesn't have to be the greatest bowler in the world, although it certainly can, to be on a future episode of our show. We look for people who are passionate about the sport and have a unique story to tell. So, Tom Roberts, who would you like to challenge to be on a future episode of Bowling with the Pfeff?
Well, like Sarah, I'm going to do a couple.
Okay.
I'm thinking Eric Haugen and Tom Mitchell.
Okay.
Yeah, a couple of teammates of mine, and I think they'd have pretty good stories to tell.
All right. Well, Eric and Tom, if you're interested in taking Tom up on his challenge, you can find me pretty easily. I'm Andrew Pfeffer on Facebook, or email bowlingwiththepfeff@yahoo.com. If you're at all interested, we'll certainly get you in the loop. You are not the first person to suggest that Tom come on. I've had a couple of those suggestions along the way, preparing for this episode, if that means anything. We'll see. But we'll see if he can make it on a future show. That would be great. Our next live stream coming up Tuesday, November 24th. We're going to chat with Al Houston. He's the tournament director who put together the recent Champions Pro Shop Open. You can see the live streams here on the channel. Al is an Eagle winner who seems to put on a tournament just about every weekend. down in Owatonna at Spare Time Entertainment Center, the house he helps to run. He's also got some great tournaments in the months ahead, and we will discuss all of that right here on Bowling with the Fef. Tom, it has been a pleasure getting to know your bowling story, and although it's sounds like it's going to be a challenging road ahead, we wish you the best of luck. Get well soon, and get back on the lanes, because I know Sarah would appreciate that.
We will do our best.
All right.
It's been fun.
Great. Well, thanks for coming on. And again, thanks to all of you for checking it out. Again, we will be back on the 24th with